So this first recipe then, nice and simple. We're going to use our spiruli, or whatever yours is called, spiral slicer with some zucchini, and you can use this with carrots, you can use it with butternut squash, parsnips, zucchini obviously, yellow squash. You know, any of those vegetables that are that shape and are firm enough, like you wouldn't be able to use a cucumber because it's just too watery. So going to be using that. And then the ingredients that we've got here are nice and simple. So we've got our tomatoes, and in your recipe it says 5 medium tomatoes. These are a little bit small. I've got these really nice organic on the vine tomatoes, so I'm going to use 6 just to make up for the fact they're a bit small. We've got our sweetener is a couple of dates, a couple of soft dates, some ginger as a flavouring. Then we've got some lemon juice. Actually the tomatoes could be considered an acid, but we're just going to have a little bit more strong of an acid in there with the lemon juice. Some olive oil is obviously our fat. So we've got fat acid, we're going to use some salt, and this is our sweet. And also these tomatoes could be considered a salt as well. Now I've kept, these are soaked, these are the ones that weren't in oil. These are the ones like my everyday kind of staple recipe sun-dried tomatoes. These are the ones that were really dry and they need soaking for a few hours, and I've kept I've reserved the soap water from these because that will be salty as well. So if I have trouble blending this based on, you know, how big my tomatoes are and how much water they provide, I can put a little bit of the soak water in, give it a little bit more salt and more liquid. Then we've got, I actually had these offcuts of onion here, so this is about half a medium onion, is what it equates to. We've got some 10 basil leaves, and then we've got some mixed Italian herbs. So if you remember last week I was talking about mixing up dried with fresh, which is exactly what we're doing here, and we're only using 2. Actually, the quick note on this Italian seasoning, it's great, but it's got like seven or 8 herbs, different herbs in it, I think, maybe even more. And you know, it's kind of ironic that the Italian cooking usually uses fresh herbs that might just be 1 or 2 in a combination. Well, 1 would be on its own, 1 would not be a combination, but 2 in combination, 3 at the most. And then they put together this mix with all these different herbs in, but it does taste great, and as long as you don't use too much of it, it won't overpower the dish. So let's actually, we'll do the tomato sauce first. The interesting thing about this tomato sauce is the flavour does get better if you kind of leave it to stand and let those flavours gel together. If you wanted to add extra flavours to this, fennel goes nicely, even fennel juice goes quite nicely in this type of thing. And so we're just going to throw everything in, and then we'll take our tomatoes. Celery juice also works well if you want to use some of that. Again, you know, you could look in your flavour Bible and see what flavours go well with tomatoes. Okay, put some salt in there because I happen to know, I've worked with these tomatoes now, this packet of tomatoes for a little while, and I know that they're not that salty. And then we'll definitely chop this up a little bit before putting it in. Just give it a rough chop. So yeah, this sauce, you know, even leaving it overnight in the refrigerator, the flavours get better. Okay, so quick taste test. Again, you know, really get into this habit of taste testing and making a decision on seasoning. So the salt, you know, does it need any pepper? Is there enough fat there? If the flavour seems a little bit flat, then it's probably more salt. If it's got enough salt, but it's still not quite there, it's usually fat that you need to add. And if you can taste one flavour too much, like with the kale salad, if you didn't have enough fat in the kale salad, you'd taste the kale too much. So the fat will actually kind of gel all the flavours together over your taste buds so that nothing really sticks out too much. So let's just have another taste. That's good. And in actual fact, yeah, that's good. Yeah, the ginger's just about right. You know, ginger, like spice, is going to be a personal preference. So I'd probably, if it was just for me, I'd probably put maybe a little bit more ginger in there. But, you know, I'm always thinking as a chef about making food for other people, so I've just been really conscious of things like spices. Okay, so let's spiralise this veg. In actual fact, do you want to follow me down here, Dan? I'm just going to do this here because it's it will stick to this better than it will the work surface. And I'll move these bottles out of the way so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm just going to top and tail the zucchini. So you've got nice flat edges. And then I'm going to move my juice back a little bit here as well. There we go. So just need space to fit that in. Perfect. So this thing here needs to go right in the middle. If I just show you what I'm doing there, and get that right in the middle. And stick this down so those feet hold it nice and firm. Still going to have to move this out of the way. Give myself enough room with that handle. And then as we go around, I'm just putting pressure on this handle, moving it that way. And then if you want to come around this way, Dan, and have a look at this coming out here, it's quite an impressive thing. Let's move it round for you so you can see. Probably would have been a better way to do it right from the start. So you can see, if you've never used one of the top loading spiralizers, you won't really see the difference. But if you've ever used one of those angel hair top loading spiralizers, you'll see immediately this is a lot thicker in terms of, you know, the spaghetti here, and you get this really nice. Now, if I was making noodles out of this, I'd want to cut these. But seeing as it's going to be like a spaghetti dish, they're obviously traditionally, you know, got longer noodles, longer pieces, longer strands is probably the best word I can use. Okay, so let's take that over to our bowl. Whoop. And then, rather than just leaving it like that, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on there and a bit of olive oil, and then just work that in. And what will happen is, as the salt and the olive oil start to work on that, it will go less springy, less kind of circular, and more kind of spaghetti-like. Okay. Great. So this, you would only do that just before serving. If you do that too early, the pasta's going to go too watery. So literally just before serving, get that going, and you can see how quick this is. And we're going to serve this with a nice little salad. Let's put a different type of oil on there, a little bit of macadamia oil. and we'll have a little bit of lemon juice on there as well. And I'm just using a spoon here to spoon this over so that I don't pour too much of that lemon juice in. And you know, lemon juice and olive oil on these leaves just makes them pop a little bit in terms of, gives them that shine and gives them a nice taste as well. Okay, so take our bowl. And already, you know, when you replace all those mixed greens in there, you've got a really nice look to this dish already. And this is a nice big kind of pasta bowl, so that works. Okay, then we'll just take up our veggie spaghetti. And just place that on there. And then we'll get some of our sauce. And if you've got any pesto left, you know, pesto on top of this is a really nice touch as well. Let's use one of these. And you can, if you put this sauce in a bowl and cover it and put it in the dehydrator, it will actually warm it through. Okay, so just put on there however much sauce you want on there. And of course you can actually, let's do this with this one, you can take the sauce and put it onto the spaghetti and actually then mix it in as well. So there's a couple of different serving options that you've got. Just mix that around. Let's put that in this bowl for you so you can see. Yeah, it's quite a nice thing to do as well. I actually just prefer to have it like that because the colour really pops nicely with that, I think. So what we'll do to finish that off is we'll take some microgreens. And if you can't get any microgreens, you could just use, you know, if you can get like salad cress where you are, it's a nice touch. Or you can look into growing your own as well. And then let's have, get this right to the back, to my peppercorns. A little bit of that on top. There we go. So a nice, quick, you know, pretty looking salad, dinner, and pasta dish that took no time, no real preparation involved, nothing more than 10 minutes, and you know, delicious.